Good morning. My name's Jason.
Good morning, everybody, and I'm Steve. Nice to see you.
We are the Spice Girls. No, we're not. Are we the Spice Girls? No, that was
Don't
the
you be
90s.
ginger, please.
That was the 90s. You can't be ginger. You can't be baby. You definitely can't be posh. You could be
That doesn't leave me
scary.
much option.
You could be scary.
I'm not going to be freaking.
You can't be
No,
sporty
I'll give it a
either.
miss.
You
You're
can't
all
be
right.
sporty. You'll have to be scary. Dear me, especially first thing in the morning. So Pam tells me.
Listen. This is awfully racist. I could be ginger if I wanted to be, mate.
Yeah, you might be down.
I can.
Maybe downstairs. You never know. You never know what's going on. It could be Scottish down below. Right, what are we talking about today, mate?
I reckon.
We are talking.
What are we going to do? Well, we're going to be talking about, apparently, I know nothing about this whatsoever. So apparently now it's possible, in inverted commas, to communicate with the dead utilizing artificial intelligence. I've just learned about this, so I know nothing. And as normal, I'm hoping you're going to educate me.
Well, it was a story that broke in the news this week. It's basically, I think it's China. I've come up with this thing where you can, an old person can go and record all this stuff about their lives before they die. And then when after they've died, their family can then go and interrogate their artificial, this projection of them, and have a conversation with them about their lives, basically. And it's kind of all done with AI. What do you think about that? Dear, what do you think? Do you think you're actually going to talk to them?
Yes, I did. I feel a little bit let down, if I'm brutally honest. I honestly thought that someone had come up with something so that we could speak to an ethereal spirit or something. And
we could upload our consciousness into a computer and actually be alive again. That would be good. To be honest with you, I've got a lot of thoughts on this, most of them quite negative. Firstly, people are supposed to die. And I think when they die, you should just let them die, and, it's part of, it's a natural part of life. And grieving, I don't think you'd ever properly grieve if you could constantly go and visit this person or this visage of this person. And you never really got over it. And I think people would become so addicted to going to visit their dead relatives who weren't really there. It'd be a real difficult thing. You never actually get over the grieving process.
I get that. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, do you know what? You say that. There's a couple of people that automatically sprang to mind who are single siblings. They don't have brothers and sisters. And have sort of lived with one of their surviving parent until that parent has passed away. And do you know what? You're absolutely right. And then I don't know loads. There's two cases that I know of in particular where their own lives were on hold while they were living with the parent, and they ended up almost being carers and whatever else and all the other bits and pieces. And their life then stood a chance of beginning. Of both of these people were in their well into their 40s, but by the time this chain of events had happened. And of course they do go through the grieving process, but then afterwards they're able to build themselves a life for the first time and then be truly happy.
Yes.
And that was really rather a lovely thing to see on both of these occasions. But you're right, because that's all they know. So, they can keep going back and keep going. So instead of an old piss-soaked woman sat in the corner that you have to clean up after, you've got a computer in the corner, which is a lot more hygienic. And you can just go and press the button and have a chat.
Yeah, I think it's more than computer. I think you have to go into it's quite expensive, I believe. It's a lot to record it on. And then you have to go and visit them in the visitors centre. So you go and visit them. And then you have to pay loads more money to do that. But the other thing I would say is, for God's sake, why people are still alive, sit down and talk with them and ask them about their lives. If you've got parents that you got your mum still alive, isn't she?
Yeah, I'm still alive. Yeah.
Mum's still alive. So my parents both dead, and I actually wish I'd sat down with my dad more and actually talked about his life. I always felt a lot of it, especially around his father, was a bit shrouded in secrecy. I remember as a child being told not to ask about his dad, and I never realised his dad was on his second marriage, which I didn't know about until my auntie died, actually, and a few things came out, and we kind of did a bit of a family tree and stuff. But we actually tracked down. There's a bit of a story here actually. So my dad had an older half brother and sister, and they used to come and take him out every week when he was a kid, and and he remembers he was only probably about 7. No, he must have been older than 7. His dad died when he was 7, but he was under 10 anyway. And they came one day and said, "I'm really sorry, we're not allowed to come and visit. We're not allowed to visit you anymore." And that was the last time we ever saw him. And we actually, and years later, we actually tracked the family down. And unfortunately, his brother and sister have both passed away. But his sister's daughter, Debbie, my sister, was really in touch with them. She actually came to my sister's wedding when she got married, and so we're sort of in touch with that side of the family. But it was always a big thing that I wasn't allowed to talk about. That's what my mum told me. I don't know. My sister said, I don't know why he would say that. But so there's a lot of things I never asked my dad. I know a few things about him growing up in the war, and he used to live in London, and he got shipped out to Wellingborough, and he was. He had to get rescued by like social services because they didn't feed him. They actually didn't feed him. But anyway, lots of stories, but I wish I knew more. I wish I'd asked more, about growing up and what it was like. Yeah. And I say to everybody, just talk to your family while they're away. Talk to your parents while they're alive. Sorry, while they're here, because it's a missed opportunity. And I don't think having AI would be the same, because you're not talking to them, or some people would and some people wouldn't. Some people would think they were talking to them.
It's just a money making. It's another way of trying to get money out of vulnerable people, quite frankly.
I think so. Yeah.
And you could do it yourself. You could sit your mum or your dad down with a recorder, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And just get them to chat away if that's what you really want to do, and save yourself a bloody fortune.
I mean, the great thing about modern technology, I mean, I know we're both on Facebook. You don't really use it a great deal, but I do use it a great deal. We post photos when we go away and stuff like that. And there's a thing in there where you can set what they call a legacy contact. So when you die, that person can take over your Facebook. So all your photos and everything are because think about my parents, when they were young, we've probably got 10 or 12 photos of them, like when they were young, they all had like a portrait done, didn't they? And there's a few photos of my dad in the army, and there's not a lot of photos. Whereas when we die, my kids are going to see a whole catalogue of what we did and where we were doing, and mum and dad having fun together. And even things like this, I mean, I don't know how long this YouTube thing will last. Who's going to say it's going to go on forever? We don't know. But, maybe these videos that we make are going to be around for a long, long time. And after we pass on, Charlie's going to be able to come in and sit down here and say, "God, that was my dad. Listen to you chuntron about a load of rubbish," and you know what I mean, and be able to sit there and actually see you. You're sitting here, you got a smile on your face now. You're laughing. I mean, that's going to be a lovely thing to see in another however many years when you're not here, for your daughter and your grandchildren. And so this was my granddad when he was young. Look at him, when he was young, he's old, but he's not as old as how you remember him. So all these so we've got with social media and all these things that we do, and even like we post on Facebook because it comes up every year. So this is what you're doing last year. This is what you're doing 5 years ago, and all these memories kind of just pop up onto it. So that's why I like posting photos on Facebook. Because it is a kind of it's almost like a diary of your life. People used to write a diary, whereas facts, isn't it? You just put photographs on and you can go back and revisit all your adventures. So you should post more on Facebook, and plus it's sharing. It's sharing with your friends who don't get to see it. Yeah, don't post pictures of your dinner like some people do. Perhaps,
I guess that's why I don't do it. Because it's kind of like I think, well, who's going to find this interesting? And but no, maybe I should a bit more, to be honest.
I do. I mean, I love it when people go on holiday, and I like to see where they've been. I like when people are going out on a night out, or if something's really funny. Sometimes I just post really stupid things. There's one that came up on my videos today that I was looking at, and it's going back a few years, where my youngest, who was about Charlie's age at the time, she was about 14. And you know what they're like, where they don't clear stuff up. you know, like the terrible clearing. And I actually, we did a bit of a saga. There was things like she'd had a McDonald's coffee and it'd just been left on the top in paper cup. She'd gone out, and then she came back, and I didn't move it purposely. It came back and it got stuck on the worktop above the bin. She'd moved it from the lounge to the worktop in the kitchen above the bin. And then there was like DVDs that she'd had out and they'd been left out. And I'd left them out particularly for a week. And I made like this catalogue of videos. And people, it was about 7 days worth. And, you know, I did it just for other people's amusement, really. And, you know, that's why I like stuff like Facebook. But, you know, it does give you stuff to go back and look at and see your life. And I think in a lot of ways, that's just as good as having an AI, because you can go back and see what your parents are actually physically doing. You know, look, I mean, we were away last weekend in Brighton. We had took some photos on the pier, you know, and in another 20, 30 years' time, when we're gone, if that's still there, if Facebook's still a thing, our kids and our grandkids will be able to look on there and say, look at Grandma and Grandad having a good time in Brighton. And my daughter will go, oh my God, I can't believe they seem so old then, and I'm that age now, you know. And all that kind of stuff.
What you say about photographs, you know, it's true. Our mums and dads, we do have like a handful of photographs of them, you know, sort of old black and whites and stuff. And in fact, there's a couple that have been hand coloured, which was all the thing at the time.
Yeah.
But when we were kids growing up, my mum's got albums of me and my sister as we were growing up, because photography was a bit more accessible, I suppose. Now, so when Charlie was first born, we've got albums of photographs of that, and then they kind of stop because photo cameras. Who has a camera anymore? We've got it on our phones, but you don't print them, do you?
No.
So that they're always there in the thing.
But the only problem with that, like, you've got photos on your phone, and which I assume is passworded. You know, if you died tomorrow, would Pam be able to access those photos? Would she be able to get hold of them? Yeah. And would they die with you?
I actually make a point of printing. I do occasionally print when I remember. So I just go to Boots and places like that, and there's machines where you just sort of download the ones that you want to. So, well, at any one point,
I use the cloud.
There's 2,500 to 3,000 photos on my phone right now. Bet there is
15,000 photos on mine. 15,000 photos. So I use the cloud. So I've got all Apple stuff. And on my Mac, which is what I'm talking on now, it downloads all the photos onto there. So I've got them physically on the cloud, and I've got them on the Mac. So I've always got copies of them. So should everything happen to me, Sarah should be able to access them and look at the photos. So there you go. Anyway, we have digressed. So AI, do we think it's a good idea, or do we not?
No, I think it's a horrific idea. It's nothing like I expected it to be. A, I think it's a rip-off. B, it's just utilising people's misery. It's cashing in on that. And you hit it on the head. Life is for living, and if you're still lucky enough to have family around you, go and talk to them. Get the information, as Jay quite rightly says, before it's too late, and save yourself a fortune and make their day too.
Absolutely. And on that, we'll leave that there. Thank you very much for watching. We're the Highwaymen. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. What else do they need to do, Steve?
They need to get pressing on that bell end, Jay.
Hit the bell end and get notifications of when we bring out a new video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Still makes me laugh. See you later, everybody.